Police say the incident happened here around 5 a.m. Friday. They say a man got into the Arthur V. Morrow residence building and physically assaulted a woman while she was asleep in her suite at the housing complex. Police say that suite wasn't on the main floor. This is the second violent incident on campus in days. On Tuesday night, an 18-year-old was pepper sprayed and robbed. This old building has seen better days. There's boarded up windows, concrete blocks holding up the structure, and bricks have been falling. Now, the residents who live in this house here have been asked to evacuate, and that's because, as you can see, they're just steps away from the warehouse, and the entire neighborhood has been impacted.
Swamp Canoe says his government has prepared to work with whoever ends up in the White House. CBC's Gavin Axelrod joins us live in the newsroom. And Gavin, what else did the Premier have to say?
Well, the Premier spoke about things like trade and immigration. Now, Trump has talked about imposing tariffs and mass deportation, all things that could impact Manitoba. Canoe says Manitoba is committed to having a strong border, but also welcomes people from all over the world. And he says trade with Manitoba is in America's best interest.
So what did the Premier say about the future of Canada's relationship with the U.S. following the election?
Well, he says no other country in the world can compete with Canada because we're America's closest ally. And he says Manitoba is an attractive trade partner no matter who's in the White House.
CBC's Gavin Axelrod is tracking this story for us in Winnipeg. Gavin, what more do we know?
Well, we know 30 to 40 more volunteer searchers arrived in the community today. Now, this is an expansive search. There's a helicopter, a few drones, a police dog, and lots of boots on the ground, too. RCMP say they're focusing their attention on the woods as that's where they believe the boy might be. Yesterday, we spoke to Garrison Satie. He's Grand Chief of MKO. That's the organization that represents Northern Manitoba First Nations like Shamattawa. He says a crisis support team was headed to the community to help out. He also says he's remaining hopeful, but underscored the fact that a young child's life is on the line here and just hopes that he's found safe. Deanna.
So what is that like, when you find out that you're going to be moving into a new apartment and that it had also been done in the span of these hours?
It's incredible. The support I've been getting today has just been overwhelming. And
as you get ready to move, what would you want people who might listen to this or hear this, what would you want them to know about you and your story?
The thing I want them to know is there's a lot more people out there that need help. I've gotten an overwhelming amount of support today, but I would like to see other people get that level of support too. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Winnipeg has a rather serious homeless problem right now, and I encourage anyone in the political arena to work towards solving it.
Amalgamated Transit Union Local 1505 says a fight broke out between four men on a bus around 12:30 a.m. The union says a man pulled out a gun and pointed it at a passenger. Then he moved toward the front of the bus and banged the gun on the safety shield and demanded to be let out. All that's left of the house that exploded are its steps and foundation. Police now know the owner wasn't home at the time, and they've spoken with him, trying to figure out what happened. At least 5 cats have been found dead here in Point Douglas since the summer. Now, animal advocates want you to keep your cats inside. Winnipeg Animal Services confirms it's had 5 recent reports of dismembered cats. Police districts across North America are warning young people not to use realistic water guns and instead use ones like these.
Last night, I want to touch on this. Some history was made. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's right, Brittany. Winnipeg Blue Bombers running back Brady Oliveira won Most Outstanding Canadian and Most Outstanding Player awards. That makes him the 4th player ever in the league's history to win both of those awards in the same season. He's also the first Manitoban ever to win the CFL's Most Outstanding Player award.
With just a couple of hours to go, tell us, what's the atmosphere like where you are?
Well, all week long here in Vancouver, it's been a party, and today is basically the grand finale of all that. The fans of both teams, the players on both teams, they're looking for something to celebrate, and you can probably see behind me, tons of people are milling about here. They actually just opened the gates right before we went live. I think the overwhelming feeling here is that people are just looking to have a good time, and they're going to party it up like the year 3000. That's the Jonas Brothers reference. They're going to do the halftime show, and yeah, everyone's just excited, and they're ready to get this party started here today at BC Place. It's the Argos' 8th Grey Cup victory over the Blue Bombers, and the road to redemption begins again for Winnipeg. One that just might end with a championship celebration on home turf in 2025. Well, the Jets are off to an undefeated start, with their ultimate goal being to win a Stanley Cup, but they don't give out that trophy in October. Gillingham insists the pilot isn't a service cut and believes raising the threshold to trigger a residential plow could save the city millions of dollars. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.